In the 1937 book on Basic Tactics of Guerrilla Warfare, Mao Zedong wrote, "The peculiar quality of the operations of a guerrilla unit lies entirely in taking the enemy by surprise. A fundamental principle of war is and always has been the element of surprise. When the African People's Socialist Party formed the Solidarity Movement, they did something groundbreaking and historic that was never expected by the white ruling class. The enemy never could have anticipated such a thing. They organized members of the lynch mob. They went into the slave master's house while the slave master was sleeping and woke up his children and organized the children to help kill the slave master and burn down the house and destroy the system of slavery. They organized us, white people, to go organize ourselves, other white people like us, armed with the truth about our history, to function under the leadership of Black power and do our part as a front of the African Revolution inside the belly of the beast in the struggle to destroy white power. No one saw that coming. White power never saw it coming. Lynch mobs never saw it coming. The slave master never saw it coming. And they never saw it coming because there is nothing in our history that would have prepared them for such a surprise attack. There is no tradition of white people breaking from our allegiance to our ruling class and uniting with the oppressed in the struggle to overthrow oppression. To the contrary, as Chairwoman Penny and that powerful video we saw yesterday demonstrated, our history has been one of total unanimous complicity with the white ruling class. But now, with the creation of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, the white ruling class can no longer count on the absolute unity of the white population. And when it comes time for them, Uhuru. So as this crisis deepens, when it comes time for the white ruling class to rally their troops, and they turn and look over their shoulders and expect to see us, they will either see nothing or they'll see us marching for their heads, armed with the torches and the shovels to burn and bury their asses. Our work is reparations. The US owes reparations, Europe owes reparations, Wall Street owes reparations, white people owe reparations. Every single white person on the planet, white woman, white man, white trans person, white baby, white disabled person, all white people owe reparations to African people. And this past year, with the rise of the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru Solidarity Movement has been going into the white community to build a culture of reparations. We've been holding events called the Reparations Challenges, which we're going to show you a video about, as well as the Days in Solidarity with African people, based on the understanding that reparations is our responsibility, because there is not a single cent or dollar in the white community that is not drenched in the blood of Africa. And every dream and aspiration in the white world is built on the crushed hopes and scarred and tortured bodies of millions of African people for 600 years. And right now, or maybe this is fading, I know there's a short attention span in the media, the bourgeois media, but right now there were a bunch of white people that were calling for maximum punishment for these 4 African teenagers in Chicago for supposedly torturing a white kid. But the reality is that African people are the real victims of torture at the hands of white people on the deepest level. The bottom aspect of this whole economy is torture. That's what the whole thing is built on. In fact, at the height of chattel slavery, more white people in this country participated in torture of African people than any other population in human history. Torture was just normal. And if you went into a warehouse, every single tool in the warehouse had been used as a method of torture at one point or another. So there's no horror movie that Hollywood could produce, that I've seen, and I've seen a lot, that could possibly compare to the truth about white people and our history. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Saw 2, whatever. None of them even come close to scratching the surface of the gore and gruesome sadistic violence that we willingly carried out to take our place on the pedestal of the oppression of African people. So we talk about joining humanity, but we don't get to just come back, or for the first time perhaps, come into the family, come into the human family after we've been lynching and raping for 600 years. just, we don't get to just wear dreadlocks or try to rap or something and suddenly we're cool, we're down. We have to repair the damage. And the only way to do that is through reparations, paying back what's been stolen. Reparations means white solidarity with black power. It's not about feeling guilty, although if you're white and you feel guilty, it might be because we are guilty. It's not about just an empty apology like these white veterans that went and said sorry to the indigenous people for living on their stolen land while continuing to live on the stolen land. And it's not charity, which says, I'm going to rob you of everything you have and then throw some change at you so you don't starve today. And it's not anti-racism, which says, believe me, I'm not like my granny, my racist granny. I've unlearned those racist ways. My best friend is black. I wear a safety pin. I'm one of the good ones. Take my word for it. That's not what this is about. This is about changing the world. The African Revolution is the only thing that is changing the world. And this is about solidarity with the African Revolution. Chairman Omali Shatella painted with the paintbrush of African internationalism, if you will, a beautiful picture of the liberated future in the political report, the liberated future of Africa. And we understand that a free Africa will be the birthplace of a socialist humanity. And that is the future that we in the Uhuru Solidarity Movement want to live and fight for. And there's nothing else. There's nothing else. The party, the African Revolution is everything. We hate this society. We hate it. Even if we can't articulate it, white people are checking out every day in various fashions. This system, this society that we inhabit and benefit from has no redeeming qualities. But the future is in the African Revolution. And we don't have to shoot heroin or drink or kill ourselves. We can be part of the future through solidarity with the African Revolution. And that means being black power and white face, going into the white community, organizing, building the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and unleashing the stolen resources back into the hands of African people struggling to be free. That is our only future. Our only future is unconditional material solidarity with African liberation. So, it's my honor to introduce this workshop to you today, and this year has been really profound. I've seen a lot of white people, and especially like liberals, like lamenting what a horrible year 2016 was. 2016 was great. 2016 was awesome. This was the year of the rise of the party, the Revolutionary Party of the African working class, as reflected in the last 3 days. And it also saw the rapid growth of USM, where we doubled our membership at the beginning of this year. We held 7 days in solidarity with African people, and we have been building our membership and branches throughout the US. So in this workshop today, we will first present to you a video produced by Comrade Kafira Barron, which documents in a thumbnail sketch the year of reparations work of USM this past year. And then after the video, you're going to get 3 quick back-to-back presentations. I'm not going to come back and reintroduce people because we want to keep it moving. 3 back-to-back presentations by 3 powerful leaders in the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And this is to give you a sense of what we're going to be doing this upcoming year, what kind of work we're going to be carrying out. And first you will hear from Bedingfield. Johan is the National Outreach Chair of USM and is also the chair of a new entity that we created this year called the USM Disability Working Group. And Johan will speak on the work this year to organize every sector of white society that experiences any oppression within white society, because we understand from the leadership of the party that it is white power that is responsible for that. So, and just a quick note about that, right now, because imperialism is in crisis, they are trying to consolidate their ranks by opening the door to every white person. White LGBT people can join the military. White women can join. Now trans people can join the military. This is a new thing Obama made happen, and he's the great savior for doing that. But really what they want to do is use you, put you in their meat grinder, and use you to kill, oppress, and colonize people. But your place is here. The revolution's not going to use you. Your true interests are found in the revolution, in the African revolution, not with imperialism. And the Uhuru Solidarity Movement is the weapon that any person who experiences, any white person who experiences any pain in the system can resolve that pain and find their safety and their security and their home in solidarity with African liberation. So then we will hear from Star, who is the political action chair of USM, and she will be talking to us about the Africans 1 Billion Strong campaign and our part of that campaign, which is to target the white ruling class for reparations to Black Star Industries. And then finally, we will hear from Casey Mackey, who is our National Economic Development Chair, and also the USM representative on the Committee for Justice for the 3 drowned Black girls. She will speak on why white people must win the work, must join the work for justice for Dominique Battle, Ashanti Butler, and Lanaya Miller. Then I will come back up for like 1 minute to introduce you to our National Steering Committee, who are all amazing, amazing leaders in this movement. So finally, last thing I want to say, you know, the chairman mentioned Susan Worth, who was an APSC leader whose family was so convinced that she was in a cult that they hired someone to kidnap her and torture her and deprogram her. And in the work to build the culture of reparations, we have, of course, that's the slander that we encounter, is the whole idea that we're a cult from white nationalists, people who oppose us. But they have it backwards. We're the escape route from the cult of whiteness. It's not even in our mission statement, but our little side thing we do is we rescue white people from the cult of imperialism. That's what we do. And unfortunately for them, our cult is growing and theirs is falling apart. So we're going to keep building it until we can crush theirs utterly and build this culture of reparations to African people. So without any further ado, I'd like to turn it over to my dear comrade and revolutionary brother, Johan Bedingfield. Uhuru.